What's up guys, it's Salvaje. I'm back with another episode of Fortnite Save the World University. This is a series where I'm going to teach you how to maximize your Save the World experience, specifically if you're a beginner player. And of course, I'm going to be walking you guys through, giving you guys a step-by-step. Okay, so in this episode, we're going to be talking about materials, how you go about farming materials, and of course, how you maximize your farming experience in Fortnite Save the World. I just want to let you guys know, when you first start out, you're not going to be having this arsenal of materials and nuts and bolts, because a lot of these nuts and bolts, for example, all of this copper comes from my main account. I just transferred it over, I just transferred it over to this account. Like that, I have to spend less time farming and more time working on the series and, moving forward into Stonewood. However, in this episode, I of course wanted to teach you guys how to farm, because it's a very essential thing when it comes down to Fortnite Save the World. Tip number one when it comes down to farming: if you want things like copper ore, for example, sometimes the missions in Save the World are giving the material that you want. So again, if you want copper ore, then we are going to do this, power level 1 fight the storm. If we want things like quartz crystal, then we do this power level 3 fight the storm, right? But of course, now that we got that out of the way, we're gonna jump into this mission right here, this rescue the survivors, power level 5. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go around sort of farming. I'm gonna be teaching you guys how, of course, to maximize your farming experience. Tip number one: make sure that you're farming on private lobbies, okay? And the reason why you want to be farming on private lobbies is because like that, you're basically having all of the materials to yourself, all of the nuts and bolts to yourself, all of the stringy twine, all of the rough mineral powder, etc, etc. Okie dokie, so here we are. We're finally on the map. Let's talk about the most important crafting material in Fortnite Save the World at the moment: fibrous herbs. You use fibrous herbs to create healing stations, but most importantly, to create gas traps. Gas traps, at the time we'll be making this video, are the best traps in the game. So I'm going to give you guys the best tip for farming fibrous herbs. I have about 2,000 fibrous herbs on my main account. And the reason for that is because as I'm playing Save the World, as I'm passively playing Save the World, I'm farming every single plant. I'm searching every single plant, that I see in front of me, guys. Okay? Because if you're not searching every single plant that you're not seeing in front of me, Jesus Christ. If you're not searching every single plant that you see in front of you, then you are highly missing out on potential fibrous herbs. You also want to make sure that you are farming, of course, mushrooms, because mushrooms have really, really high chances of giving you fibrous herbs. And I think I'm gonna rescue the survivors mission. Oh my god, I am gonna rescue the survivors mission. I might as well rescue some of these survivors and do my quest at the same time. I do have some quests here actually. Now I think I'm just gonna do this mission by myself. I'm gonna solo it, and then of course we're gonna, we're just gonna do our storm shield defense for which we need to do. Get off me, boy. Alright, there we go. So we know how to farm fibrous herbs passively now, thanks to thanks to the boy Salvaje. Now let's talk about farming copper. You want to go around the edges of the map, and you guys want to go into these caves, and you guys can get copper just like that, okay? However, I don't think this is an efficient way to get copper. If you want to get copper, do missions that are giving out copper. These rocks right here, they're going to be giving you rough ore, and with rough ore you can craft things like wall launchers or floor launchers, which are of course very helpful when we get to Planker Town. So we're not going to worry about that trap too much. We're not going to talk too much on it. Okay, here's another tip for you guys, right? Whenever you guys are seeing these staircases and you see this rectangular border, that means that there's a cave at the bottom. And usually these caves have really important materials. Like for example, here we have more copper. And the next item that we of course want to focus on farming, for example, it's going to be quartz crystal. If I want quartz crystal, I'm always going to be breaking rocks that look like this. And quartz crystal can be used to craft traps like freeze floors. And later on in the end game, you need a lot of quartz crystal to craft your shadow shard weapons, for example. But right here we found a chest. And it's actually it's pretty good that we actually found this chest. Hopefully we can get some rotating gizmos or an active power cell from it. We're not. We're just going to be getting some, some mechanical parts. And it's okay. It's not a big deal. But we did find that little rock on the border of the cave, it's going to be giving us coal. So that's how you guys go about getting coal. Make sure that you guys go around the border of the map, and of course you guys are finding as many of those coal rocks as possible. But of course, let's talk about another essential, rough mineral powder and stringy twine, or just twine in general, right? So you go about getting stringy twine or any type of twine by just breaking trees. As you guys can see, we're going to be getting planks, which is not twine, but eventually we are of course going to be getting some twine. As you guys just saw right there, we got 2 sets of stringy twine, so that's pretty good. And now we are gonna break this one as well. And we didn't get stringy twine, but it's all good. I'm actually not gonna search that plant, but I am gonna get this fragment. So now let's talk about rough mineral powder. How do you go about getting rough mineral powder? It's pretty simple. You just want to be breaking rocks. Alright, so I'm actually just gonna do this because this is just gonna, I'm gonna be able to break rocks faster with this shovel. We keep getting rough ore, sadly, but there we go. We got some rough mineral powder. So you're not always guaranteed, guys, I just want to point that out, to get rough mineral powder from rocks. But you know, that's basically the only way, you know, that you guys can go about getting things like rough mineral powder, at least of course when you first start out. Okay, and of course you guys want to get your hands on rough mineral powder because you can use it to craft things like gas traps, which again, gas traps, really good traps at the time of me making this video. So now let's talk about one of the most valuable items in Fortnite Save the World, nuts and bolts. So when you want to farm nuts and bolts, when you want to farm a lot of wood, when you want to farm a lot of metal, alright, you guys want to make sure that you're using an outlander that has my ability, right? You guys want to use an outlander that has the anti-materials charge ability, okay? And the reason for that is because the anti-materials charge is an ability that instantly breaks vehicles, instantly break trees, etc, etc, right? You know, instead of using your really bad pickaxe on cars and take 25 years to, you know, destroy a car, you can just use your anti-materials charge. Alright, if you guys also want to get nuts and bolts, make sure that you guys are also destroying these parking thingies. And most importantly, now we're going to talk about rusty mechanical parts. If you guys want to get rusty mechanical parts or any mechanical part in general, make sure that you guys are breaking cars, or of course these parking meters also work really well as well. And as you guys can see, guys, there's a lot of cars in this city, right? So if I wanted to farm nuts and bolts, clearly I'm going to go to a city area because I can just destroy a ton of cars, and on top of all that, I can also just stack up on a lot of metal, right? I have 1.5k metal. The limit for stonewood, I believe, is 2,000 metal. So now not only am I farming nuts and bolts, but I'm also, you know, passively farming things like metal, wood, by of course trying to farm stringy twine, for example. And I'm also farming things like brick by trying to farm things like quartz, etc, etc. I'm gonna open up this red toolbox. Hopefully we get a rotating gizmo, and we didn't. If you want rotating gizmos, you want to make sure that you open up these red toolboxes. Alright, now when it comes down to active power cells, you are going to be obtaining them from chests, level 3 chests and above. So chests that look like the one that I just showcased on the gameplay example, or chests that look purple, like one of the chests that we opened on the first episode of Save the World University. Anyways, you are also going to be obtaining power cells as a side quest later on in Fortnite Save the World. So if you can't really come across any active power cells or chests, don't worry about it. You guys are going to be getting your hands on some active power cells. Now, if you guys see toilets in Fortnite Save the World or porta potties, you guys can search them. And guess what? You're going to be able to, of course, be getting bacon, which is the last material that I wanted to cover. The last crafting item that I wanted to cover in this episode of Save the World University. And ideally, you want bacon to create things like gas traps, which again, really good traps. And also, you want bacon to create defender pads, which are going to be very helpful in the intermediate game, like Planker Town, Candy Valley, and of course in the end game, Twine Peaks. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video of Fortnite Save the World University, and of course if you enjoyed it, feel free to drop it a like and subscribe to join the Salvaje Cartel.